Welcome back to 107.5 tonight. One final time, we have Tim Aker and Mike Gapes in the studio talking about Brexit. I guess my next question was going to be, with neither party in neither of the big parties, Labour and Conservative, able to agree a position on Brexit, is there any way that Brexit can be a success?
I think Brexit will be a disaster, and the question is how much of a disaster. It's certainly, I don't believe it's going to be a benefit to our economy or Britain's influence in the world. The question is how you mitigate the damage, and so if we do leave, I want to try and make sure that the damage is as little as possible. So that will be my agenda for the next few months in Parliament.
Well, from Mike's perspective, Brexit can be a fantastic success because, as a Labour politician outside the EU, you can renationalise railways, you can dump state aid rules so there can be borrowing to invest and state control of certain industries. Labour still for that now.
Railways in Europe are still state controlled.
Yeah, but they pick and choose. They pick and choose the rules as they do. They pick and choose.
They're not controlled by the British state. They're controlled by companies owned by the Netherlands or the French government.
I know, and it's outrageous.
It is
outrageous. It is, comrade. So what we must do is bring them under democratic control of the railways, which the European Union prevents us doing. Mike, please, have a drink. Calm down. So we can make an incredible success. We can get back control of our borders. And there was a statistics out yesterday that said by getting back control of our borders, we'll see wages grow up. Incredible. Great news. And then we can negotiate our own trade agreements from our own perspective, which we cannot do as members of the European Union. You know, we were told that it would be, if Britain voted leave, that days after the referendum, that the sky would fall in, and David Cameron even said during the campaign there'd be World War III and all sorts, and we're hearing the same scare stories now. The world isn't going to end. You cannot, inside the European Union, avoid complete economic downturns. There have been poor economic cycles inside the European Union, as I'm sure there will be outside the European Union. But what we can do is be masters of our own destiny. When people go into the ballot box, they can vote for a platform and be fully aware that the people that they vote for will be able to implement 100% of their manifesto, because at the minute, and Viviane Reding said it herself, and for those who don't know who she was the European Vice President in the last Parliament. Over 75% of our laws come from the European Union. And many people would have heard about Article 13 of the copyright directive that's going through, which will stifle people's freedom of speech on the internet. That will not be a problem outside the European Union. So what do you want to do? Do you want to be hoisted to something where our horizons are limited, or break free and embrace something and be positive about our politics once more? I know what I want. I'm pleased I voted leave. If Mike ever gets his way, I'll do it again, and then again, and again, and again. And I'm sure the majority will continue to do so. There is nothing to be afraid. The scare stories are there because big government will always tell you that they are the masters and you are the servants, when we know it's the other way around.
When the referendum was held, the British economy was one of the fastest growing in Europe and in the OECD. It's now one of the slowest. We've had a fall in the value of the pound directly after the referendum. Imports are more expensive as a result of that. Our economy is not growing as much as it would have done, and we've already therefore taken an economic hit and are worse off than we would have been. That's even without leaving the European Union, and if we leave and we crash out with no deal and all the supply chains are effective, they're already admitting in the testimony from ministers this week, the new Health Secretary Matt Hancock and the new Brexit Secretary Dominic Raab, talking about stockpiling medicines and stockpiling food. That's what we're going to have to deal with if we crash out without a deal. This will be an economic disaster for our country.
That's Remainers echoing Remainers. You know, Mike, your criticisms about the economy. Mike, you just spoke for a long time. Your criticisms, again, of the failing economy and so on. You should be saying that's why we need a Labour government. Not that. Oh, we should stay in the European Union.
We need
that's what we've got. You've
got
got politicians whose ultimate loyalty is to the European Union, and they'll do whatever they can, move heaven and earth, scare the children, and all sorts about the nightmare that's coming. I mean, do you honestly think cows will stop producing milk if we leave the European Union? But that's what the government was saying. We'll run out of cheese and yogurt. You could not make it up. They think the people are stupid, and that is why they lost. They told people that the sky was going to fall in and that it was going to be a disaster, and the people decided, and lots of people decided, that they were going to get up and vote for the first time ever. I'm not going to stop speaking, mate. You can let me have my say. I listened to you in silence. Please do me the courtesy. I haven't interrupted you. People were told that they were given the ridiculous scare stories that you're going to lose £4,000, as if Joe Public's got £4,000 left to spare. They were told these scare stories, and they got out and people voted for the first time ever and got registered and voted to leave. And you can throw the scare stories of the British people all you like. They don't trust the political class. They don't trust big business. They don't trust big media. They're smart enough, old enough and educated enough to make their own decisions. And good on them for it.
Why is it then that the medical research organisations are saying that there are real risks if we don't get the isotopes, the radiology, the things that are necessary for medical treatments, which are all made in the Netherlands? Why is it that the educational
trade will not stop?
And trade won't stop.
So we can buy what we need. Simple.
And there will be delays if we aren't in a customs union, and they'll be stacking up lorries. So we'll have to build massive warehouses in this country and stockpile in advance.
You've already got one. DP World, big logistics park there. We've got the super port at DP World. Let's use it. It needs more capacity. Let's use it.
Let me finish my point. There are already concerns about massive queues at Dover and at Calais of goods coming into the country. They're talking about turning the M20 motorway into a massive car park, miles long queues. If we are not in the customs union, if we don't have access quickly to these goods coming through, we will have to have stockpiles, we will have to have reserves, we will have to change the whole way that our business model works, and that's going to be massively disruptive and add extra cost to our goods. And companies like, let me finish, companies like Nissan, which have been very successful investors in this country, have already said that there'll be big problems. All the companies that are dealing with the parts for the manufacturing and the Unipart and the other parts companies, they are saying there are big problems. There has been a succession of companies, including Airbus, talking about the damaging impact of not being in the single market or the customs union. Those are realities. These are real people. You can claim that they're scare stories, but these people live and work and make money and provide employment in this country in the real world, not in some fantasy Brexit unicorn world where you've got a magic world with magical ideas which are completely impractical.
Well, Mike, with your ability to see into the future, can you give me the lottery numbers for Saturday, please? It is remarkable, absolutely remarkable. Let's turn back a couple of years with the queues, Operation Stack, and the queues at Dover and Calais. That was because of the EU's migrant crisis and refugee crisis, engineered by Angela Merkel. It's amazing to believe that inside the EU it was all honey and rainbows and flowers and so on, when the opposite is true. It is a sclerotic, dying economy that is riddled with economic inactivity, and it is facing the political doldrums, but that's because of the Conservatives, not because we voted to leave the European Union. And there are opportunities we can have outside of the European Union. And if the European Union want to play games with us on trade, there's the New World, there's the Commonwealth. Why haven't we got a Commonwealth Free Trade Agreement? That's a bigger market than the European Union. That's a growing market more than the European Union. Demographically, it's growing. The European Union's dying. Its average age is going up and up and up. It is the past. The vote to leave was a vote for the future, and there's lots of opportunities to be had. It's just a shame the politicians aren't grasping it.
Well, that is completely fantasy. The Commonwealth Free Trade Area, Australia has already made it very clear it wants to have a negotiated arrangement with the European Union as